What does it mean to dream tarot spread images? I have to admit, the symbology involving tarot spreads is one of the hardest night vision images to interpret. If you are in any way familiar with astrology, horoscopes, palm reading, numerology, or even Jungian psychology, you would agree. Because when you dream tarot spread combinations, you are faced with the challenging task of interpreting the dream, and on top of that, interpreting the tarot imagery. This is the key feature or motif of the dream. It's as if you're trying to make sense of one symbol on top of another, and within a larger context that is fairly hazy and susceptible to context. This is what makes a tarot spread such a formidable dream interpretation subject. In this video, I'm not going to teach you the basics of tarot card reading, but we will cover basic tarot spreads and their general meaning. Whatever meaning a specific tarot card within different tarot spreads may have, they are all affected by the overarching dream interpretation that looks at the tarot spreads as independent sources of dream meanings on their own. Confused yet? You should be, because trying to interpret a dream accurately when it features tarot symbology and dreams within dreams is quite a tall order indeed. It's like trying to perform air traffic control for flying UFOs coming at you from thousands of different angles. But this video will try anyway. The general dream interpretation of tarot spreads. Before we jump in, I just want to make sure that the tarot is the central focus of your dream. If you see a tarot spread once in your dream and nobody else talks about it or otherwise brings it into your mental image covered by your mind's eye in your dream, you can safely take that symbol out. Your dream is not about the tarot spread or a specific combination of tarot cards. On the other hand, if you see one spread after another and the different tarot cards are there and other imagery or even live action versions of tarot symbols litter your dream, then we're in business. Your subconscious is trying to focus your mind on certain personal issues using tarot symbology. A quick word on tarot symbols. To keep this video short, I just need to give you a quick rundown of what the tarot means. A tarot card system really turns on two key principles. Principle number one, there is no such thing as an accident. When you draw random numbers or when you are born under a certain number in a certain place, these happen for a reason, and they can be interpreted in such a way as to point to something specific to your existence. The same applies to the seemingly random tarot that you would draw off a deck. There's a reason why you drew one card instead of another. Principle number two, these tarot images are not magical. Tarot images summarize human wisdom over thousands of years regarding certain patterns. These patterns appear again and again. And when you have a record or at least some attempt at recording, certain patterns emerge. Regardless of what historical epoch we live in, and regardless of the specific social, economic, and political issues going on in our times, there are certain things that we can take to the bank as far as human nature goes. The Emperor. We have issues with authority, and that's why the Emperor tarot card will always speak to us. At the most basic, we have issues with the authority of our fathers. The Lovers. Similarly, we are all looking for love. We feel that love is what will complete us. In many cases, we're looking for an emotional and psychological outlet, and this takes the form of a romantic relationship. And that's why the classic tarot card of the Lovers continue to speak to us. I can go on down the line. So the idea here involves more of the hard-coded human psychology that rarely changes from historical era to era. I'm talking about Jungian archetypical realities. So when you put these two together, these two principles together, the tarot makes sense. But the way it makes sense and speaks to your day-to-day lived reality, of course, depends on how they appear in your dreams and their context. If you've been reading any of the dozens upon dozens of posts on dream interpretation blogs all over the internet, you know that context is everything. If you've been watching these videos, you know that context plays a big role in teasing out the ultimate meaning of your nighttime visions. With all that in mind, let's jump into what a dream tarot spread imagery means. Your subconscious is trying to get you to slow down. Please understand that one of the most effective ways your subconscious mind can speak to you is to articulate realities that you may not be all that aware of. It does so through your dreams. Depending on what happens in your dreams, it can be an attention-grabbing experience indeed. After all, seeing an image of your long-dead mother smiling at you is sure to freeze you in your tracks. Similarly, trying to save someone from drowning may trigger enough emotional urgency in you to want to wake up in a cold sweat. Whatever the case, our dreams have that ability, and it does so for a reason. Just like the tarot, certain images and symbols don't appear in your dreams for absolutely no reason. On top of that, you don't remember them randomly. There is a logic as to why you choose to remember certain imagery and quickly forget others. This priority or sorting system comes from somewhere. And when you pay close attention to what these little details are telling you about how you think, what you prioritize, and what is important and unimportant to you, you should walk away with a higher level of self-awareness. This is the most basic thing that you can learn from a tarot dream. It's using very strong imagery to tell you about certain deep truths that you need to be more aware of in your life. The center of your dream is your analytical state. What if I told you that every human being on this planet is their very own psychotherapist? Sure, we didn't go through years of pre-med and formal psychiatric training, but we have lived our lives. We are smart enough to figure out certain signals and symbols and connect the dots. Of course, most of us aren't doing expert jobs at it. Otherwise, there would be absolutely no need for professional counselors, psychologists, and psychiatrists. But on a practical day-to-day basis, we are proficient enough to understand ourselves, connect the dots, and somehow manage to get to the bottom of how we feel, how we respond, and how we react to the world around us. This is all a part of our subconscious trying to reach out when using spreads made up of different tarot cards. These cards set the tone, so pay close attention to which types of cards are appearing again and again. I'm going to use categories instead of specific cards. The meaning of cups. If you remember your tarot card dream and are sure that most of them involve cups, this can indicate that your subconscious is telling you certain truths about your emotional state. Are you an angry person? Do you have a tough time letting go? Do you have a list of people you can't forgive? Do you have a list of memories that you can't let go of because they involve unforgivable actions? Either these were done to you or you did them to others. Is there a part of you that you can safely say is trapped in a prison of guilt, unresolved anger, or lack of closure? If this is the case, then the cups that are appearing again and again in the tarot card dreams that you're having are trying to draw your attention to a greater level of emotional self-awareness. In fact, in many cases, if you see 8 of cups or anything indicating change or a combination of cups that indicate change, this can mean that you're about to reach a breakthrough. So keep analyzing, keep digging. What is required for you to experience transformation? Now, this might seem really positive, but ask anybody who has gone through real emotional growth. There's going to be a lot of crying involved. There's going to be a lot of strong emotions involved because you have to go through them. Just like a caterpillar has to turn into a pupa before it becomes a butterfly, you have to go through these changes, and they can be very painful. At the very least, you have to let your ego go. And it hurts because you think that you've figured out certain things, and here you are, feeling that you're an emotional virgin or an emotional infant. These types of images in dreams can be jarring, but they are also cathartic and exactly what you need to get on to the next stage of your life. In fact, it shouldn't be considered weird to think that there's some sort of menu of emotional states that you have to go through before you can finally be free of the past, or at least the negative emotion and self-image consequences of the past need to be let go. Pay close attention to the cups in the tarot card images in your dream. These contain very powerful messages involving your emotional states and level of maturity regarding your feelings. Are there images of pentacles? In the Dark Ages, witches, warlocks, and those who wish to communicate with the devil or demons or the underworld would often draw a pentacle, which is a star diagram within a circle, and stand in the middle of it. The idea is that by being grounded in that area of protection, the powerful supernatural force that you are conjuring would not eat you or destroy you. If you see pentacles in the tarot cards of your dream, rest assured that you're not having a dream about the devil. You can check out my video on the meaning of devil dreams by looking at the description. There's a link there. But when you see pentacles, it indicates protection, being grounded, preparing ahead. Not surprisingly, pentacles have always been associated with material well-being. This can lead to a lot of money, material security, and financial stability. But depending on how the tarot cards are spread out in your dream and which major arcana cards that they are associated with, this can indicate that your relationship with money will go through a change. At the very least, you will be more aware of your earthly concerns. What are these earthly concerns? These are your career, your standing in society, the respect that you get from other people, the first impressions you make, and your overall sense projection of competence and confidence. A lot of people have this easy relationship with money, and this might be reflected in how the imagery and symbols of the pentacles are shown in their dreams. Other people are uneasy with money, and this is also exposed in the form of pentacles in your dreams. You might be one of those people that are afraid of money. You might even feel guilty about the amount of cash that you make. Some people are scared, not so much of the cash and the kind of life it can bring, but the responsibility that comes with it. If you see pentacle images, pay close attention to how you're feeling and how your body was positioned when you saw those images. If you sense that you were looking forward to certain things or you were planning certain things, this can indicate that you are on the right path. You're going about it the right way. On the other hand, if you see yourself scared and because of the association of the pentacles and the devil, or even if there's a devil major arcana card that shows up, this can indicate a deep and profound sense of insecurity as to your finances or your material state. Maybe you're not making as much money as you should be. Maybe you think that your parents are disappointed in you because you picked the wrong career path. This can all indicate your insecurity regarding your material state. And the good news is it's not the end. This is just a wake-up call from your subconscious telling you, if you're unhappy with how things turned up and turned out when it comes to your finances, there's still something you can do about it. It's not too late. The key is to understand the connection between the decisions and choices you made in the past and how things turned up in the here and now. This is a good first step, and from there, you may have to make different choices. Is there any spirit imagery in your tarot dreams? Sometimes dream images involving physical representations of the supernatural or greater psychological realities like the tarot can be accompanied by a truly out-of-this-world image. For example, did you see spirits, phantasms, or bright lights in your dreams? If this is the case, pay close attention to how you were feeling in your dream. Were you scared? Were you looking forward to the revelation of the meaning of the spread in front of you? Did you feel a sense of energy as the spirit tries to communicate with you, or as the medium or as the tarot card reader reads out certain meanings or was trying to convey some deep and profound truth? What kind of music was playing? Were you surrounded by a dead, calm silence? Try to remember these details because your subconscious shows you the image of a spirit. It's using a very strong symbol. You have to understand that it doesn't have to do that. We're not living in the Middle Ages where people are scared of trolls, imps, ghosts, dwarves, and phantasms. There's a reason why your subconscious is using a spirit image to drive home an important point. Ultimately, the dreamer in this context is being reminded of their need for spiritual balance and sustenance. I understand that if you see a spirit image or a phantasm in your in your dream, you'll freak out. And that's precisely the point. Your other consciousness, and I'm talking about the consciousness that you have when you're asleep, is trying to direct your attention to something that you may be overlooking on a day-to-day basis. You may be so caught up in your duties, responsibilities, obligations, that you may be wearing different masks that you show to different people, different members of your family, your coworkers, and your school, that at the end of the day, you don't really know what's going on anymore. You're confused. You're living in this fog. And when people find themselves in that situation, it's no surprise that their spiritual life starts to suffer. When you see a tarot card spread in your dream and there is some sort of phantasm or physical spiritual manifestation, this can indicate that you need to reconnect and nurture that part of yourself that is curious about the meaning of life. That part of yourself questions why you believe what you believe. That part of yourself is in touch with some form of practical psychology. This is the part of yourself that actively writes out your internal dialogue. Are the things that you're saying about yourself and the things you choose to believe in rooted in reality? Do they arise from your daily lived experience? If not, why not? It's very jarring, just like seeing a ghost. Answering this question may turn out or expose certain realities that you are trying to escape. It may turn out that you're living your life chasing one ghost after another. You think that when you do certain things or get certain things out of life that you finally will be happy. Why are you unhappy? Let's say those things do happen. You achieve your goals. You meet the right person. You get to the outcomes you desire. What happens then? A lot of the times, people are in for a surprise. Why? They're still not happy. That's why they pursue one set of objectives after another. And when they get there, they're still not happy. These are the spiritual ramifications and consequences of your choices and the internal dialogue that you choose to play continuously in your mind. Most people are unaware of these. They're just waiting for the next dollar. They're just scrounging around for their next meal. Unfortunately, living on your spiritual belly to get from day to day is not the way to live. You were designed for something more. The subconscious is consciously and intentionally choosing the strong spiritual image to reconnect you with your hunger for spiritual truth. And I'm not necessarily talking about religion or well-defined spiritual path, but there is a spiritual aspect to you. All of us have this in common. Connect with it. It's not something that you should be afraid of because it inspired great cathedrals, amazing cave paintings, and even dreams of space travel in the past. In other words, it is your connection to the fullest and most perfect version of yourself. You were not destined to live in a mental prison with the bars of your personal compromises binding you. You were built for something more important. And most importantly, this type of dream lets you know, in no unclear terms, just how much freedom you have.